Socialism is a political and economic ideology that emerged in the 19th century as a response to the injustices and inequalities of capitalism. Socialists believe that the means of production and distribution should be owned and controlled by the community as a whole, rather than by private individuals or corporations. They argue that this will promote greater social and economic equality, as well as more democratic decision-making and greater social solidarity. One of the key ideas of socialism is that the economy should be organized to serve the needs of the people, rather than to maximize profits for a small group of capitalists. Socialists argue that capitalism is inherently exploitative, since it requires workers to sell their labor to capitalists in order to earn a living. Under socialism, the means of production, such as factories and farms, would be owned and managed by the community as a whole, and the benefits of production would be distributed more equally. Socialists also believe in the importance of social welfare programs, such as healthcare, education, and housing, which they see as fundamental rights that should be available to everyone. They argue that such programs can be best provided by the state or by community organizations, rather than through private enterprise. This is because private enterprise tends to prioritize profits over the needs of the community, and may be more likely to exclude those who cannot afford to pay. Another key idea of socialism is that political power should be more evenly distributed among the population. Under capitalism, political power tends to be concentrated in the hands of the wealthy, who use their influence to promote policies that benefit themselves rather than the broader population. Socialists argue that this is undemocratic, and that political power should be more evenly distributed through a system of representative democracy, with greater opportunities for direct participation by citizens. Socialism has been a highly influential ideology in the 20th century, and has been implemented in various forms in many countries around the world. The most famous example of socialism is the Soviet Union, which was founded in 1917 and governed by the Communist Party until its collapse in 1991. Other examples of socialist states include China, Cuba, and Venezuela. One of the key challenges facing socialism has been the question of how to balance the need for social and economic equality with the need for individual freedom and creativity. Some critics argue that socialism stifles individual initiative and creativity by prioritizing the collective over the individual. They also argue that socialism is inefficient, since it tends to discourage innovation and entrepreneurship. Proponents of socialism respond by arguing that socialism can actually promote greater individual freedom, since it eliminates the need for individuals to compete against each other for basic necessities like food, housing, and healthcare. They also argue that socialism can be highly innovative, since it encourages collaboration and the sharing of ideas, rather than competition. One of the key debates within the socialist movement is the question of whether socialism can be achieved through reform or whether it requires a revolutionary transformation of society. Some socialists argue that socialism can be achieved through gradual reforms, such as the expansion of social welfare programs or the nationalization of key industries. Others argue that socialism requires a complete break from the existing system, and that this can only be achieved through revolution. Despite its challenges and controversies, socialism continues to be an important and influential ideology in the 21st century. The current global pandemic, for example, has highlighted the importance of social welfare programs and the need for greater economic equality, leading some to call for a resurgence of socialist ideas and policies. In conclusion, socialism is a political and economic ideology that emphasizes social and economic equality, community ownership of the means of production, and greater democratic decision-making. It has been implemented in various forms in many countries around the world, and continues to be a highly influential ideology in the 21st century. While socialism faces many challenges and controversies, it remains an important alternative to capitalism and continues to inspire political movements and activists around the world who seek to promote greater social and economic justice.